Yeah, I saw you working on your deck in that lawn chair.
Not this afternoon.
Okay, I'd like to call this meeting to order. Thank you, Carl, for attending.
You should be honored, yes, thank you.
As we gather today, I would like to acknowledge on behalf of this committee and our community that we are meeting on the traditional territory of the Algonquin people. We would like to thank the Algonquin people and express our respect and support for their rich history. And we are extremely grateful for their many and continued displays of friendship. We also thank all the generations of people who have taken care of this land for thousands of years. Please join me in a moment of silent reflection. Thank you. Does anyone have any pecuniary or financial interest to declare? I haven't seen none. Minutes from the previous meeting.
Moved by Brian Kukowski, second by Carl Levine. Motion to approve the minutes of the Finance Committee meeting held on May 5th, 2025, open and closed sessions.
Questions? Discussion? All those in favor? Carried. No correspondence. No correspondence. And Tammy, you're up first.
Okay, so Council, I provided you with my news poll report regarding the May 5th, 2025 Finance Meeting follow-up questions that were asked of me and amendments to the current provisional budget that staff have made. So the first one was I was asked about the water and wastewater budgeted revenues and expenses. So as you can see, I showed what the revenues and expenses were. The billing for water for the revenues was $184,722, and the penalty and interest was $500, giving you a total of $185,222. The billing for the wastewater was $176,289, and the penalty and interest for wastewater was $500, with a total revenue of $176,785. And the budgeted expenses covered by the billing, so the water is the hydro and the aqua contract, totaling $238.13. And then the budgeted wastewater expenses covered by billings includes the whole line item of the budget, equaling $217,585. So as you can see, this the next line is the water and wastewater deficits, which I provided the last meeting we had. So the deficit in the water is $45,591, and the wastewater is $47,96. And council had given direction on how to offset those costs. So council directed that the special area rate surplus of $63,858 and the ORF reserve of $22,529 will cover the water and wastewater deficits. So that there is no impact on the 2025 tax levy, and that the general fund will not cash flow the deficit.
Tammy, can we ask, after each section, for questions, can we ask?
Okay.
So while we're on the topic, so what would happen if you didn't do these two adjustments?
Just like prior years, the budget will cash flow until the end of the year, and then it gets separated in the water and wastewater deficit.
So like last year was what, 76,000? So in the budget column, the difference was 76,000, right? Like this year was 86, last year was 76, I think, if I remember correctly, your document you provided. So are you saying that 76,000 would have been included in the municipal tax?
No.
So how does it get cash flowed into the budget?
We've had this discussion plenty of times. So the budget as a whole cash flows it, not just the tax levy itself. So the revenue side of the budget as a whole cash flows the deficit until the end of the year, where then the auditor removes it and puts it to its appropriate places in the water and wastewater deficit.
But that's on the actual, but we're concerned with the budget
It's the
now.
same thing with the budget.
So does that
Cash
mean,
flows it.
does that mean we have to put 86,000, like those two numbers, do we have to put them into the budget revenue side?
What do you mean?
Well, right now, the difference between the two shows 86,000.
Yes.
So, because we're trying to determine our taxation rate, do we have to put that 86,000 into the revenue to eat?
Yes,
So we do that.
yes.
Okay.
It's in there.
Okay,
As a transfer from reserves.
Correct.
Like as a transfer from those
Right.
reserves.
is that a good way to do things? I'm just asking.
It's a council decision. It's an option that can be done, because there was the matter that, you didn't want to cash flow it anymore.
So in other words, if there's a difference between water and wastewater revenue and expenses, whatever that difference is, we're going to pull out of reserves to balance for a net zero, right? That's what we've decided to do to this point?
That's what you've decided to do to this point, but it doesn't mean that it can be done next year. So as again, like I've indicated to council, you may want to look at how to finance that.
Okay. So we're wiping out the one reserve, right? Special area rate reserve, or is it called a reserve?
It was a surplus.
Surplus? So that's down to zero, and the ORPC goes down to 422.
It goes out of there. It's not, I don't have the total in there, but we're using 22,529 of the ORP reserve. And in the ORP reserve is right now 68,827. So 68,827 minus that 22,529.
Okay. So everyone's aware of what's going on? Everyone's okay with it, the way we're doing it? Okay, sorry. Carry on.
Okay, so the Renfrew County Community Development Fund grant money on the revenue side, the $4,028 was accidentally omitted. However, it can now be found in account number 13-1600-5265 under conditional grants. The Administration Building Department, account number 14-1400-2400, repairs and maintenance was amended to $8,000, $3,000 for the outdoor side entrance exit of the basement, and $5,000 for unforeseen miscellaneous costs. Account number 14-1400-7140, 13,500 building maintenance, includes the windows at 11,000 and framing for the windows at 25 in the old Welks office. The medical center, account number 14-6300-2210 legal fees, 8,500. The 2024 cost of 5,632 was attributed to fees associated with the voivodic easement and costs associated with such easement. 8,500 was put into the 2025 budget for unforeseen legal costs. However, we reduced this budget expense. It's actually reduced to 1,000, not 3,000. Still under the medical center, 14-6300-2400, repairs and maintenance. The 7,000 that was entered, 2,000 was for fixtures and 5,000 for unforeseen miscellaneous costs. Outdoor parks, 14-7200-7135, Killu Ring, 20,000. 5,000 was put aside for building maintenance costs, 3,000 for rink board slips, and 12,000 for legal fees and unforeseen miscellaneous costs. Outdoor parks, account number 14-7200-7153, Station Park, 4,500 was put in there for unforeseen miscellaneous costs. The special area rate, I was asked to look into the special area rate, the budgeted revenue and expenses. The budgeted revenue to bring in, including our growth, is $247,054. Our budgeted expenses include our total $191,943. I provided the breakdown of what I have in there. So based on the current budget figures, with a revenue of $247,054 and expenses totaling $191,943. The municipality has generated a budgeted surplus of $55,111 from the special area rate. Council can decide to lower the special area rate, use the surplus for anticipated future capital projects or expenditures, set the surplus aside in a reserve for asset replacement or maintenance, or use it as a contingency for unexpected costs. Additionally, council may want to revisit the special area rate in future to assess potential adjustments that could better serve the residents of the village of Kilmaloo.
I have questions on this. I guess it'll be.
I think this is a big topic of conversation.
Is that?
This will be a big topic of conversation.
I have questions. Sidewalk plow. Is it only used in Gilbert?
No.
No. The recycling waste truck, is it only used for Gilbert?
Waste truck, no. Trailer, yes.
Just a trailer?
Just the truck. And truck and trailer in town, and then truck in Realm Lake.
So there's a lot of expenses in the special area rate that are being absorbed by Killaloo, and it's being used by the whole township. So that's a problem. That's a lot of money.
Are those costs the total, or is it just Killaloo's portion of it? Of those that Ted just mentioned?
That's what yes, that's the special area, what it covers just for the village of Kilmaloo.
So that's not including the expenses that then happens when it's used outside of,
So there's-
they're only,
There's
That's
other,
not true.
there's other expenses.
That's
For,
not true at all.
like, take for example, the amortization, 10,696. So take for example, the amortization of 10,696, the very first one. There's another X number of dollars for the rest of the municipality, right?
Not for.
Or just that one?
not-
That's just for Killaloo, 10,6, right?
That's right.
So there's other amortization for the rest of the municipality also that you don't see here. So these are just specific Killaloo.
so we're talking about the sidewalk plow. I don't know what you're talking about. But the sidewalk plow says $4,828. Is that Killaloo's portion
Yes.
of the expense?
That is the whole portion.
That's the whole portion. Just like the
Correct.
the repairs and maintenance of the sidewalk plow, $40,000. There's nothing in the budget that puts expenses for that and the rest of the township. All the maintenance done on that machine is paid for through the special area.
Is that an estimated number, 40,000?
Yes.
Well, we had the discussion about either repairing it or getting a new one, right? Did we not?
No, that has nothing to do with this.
Yes, right.
This is strictly the area rate.
And, excuse me, would they burn $6,000 worth of fuel picking up the garbage every year?
Oh, I would imagine
You think so?
a lot of be $200 a day probably.
Better buy a shed than hope you serve the gas. Just kidding.
So and then we're paying, the town's paying for all the insurance for the truck, the fuel for the truck, the repairs and maintenance for the truck. It's being used to service the whole township, so. I know we probably can't do this year, but this has to be figured out.
I think we should do, like during this year, we should do a full review to make sure
Yeah.
it's covering everything that it should. Because there might be some other things that should go in there as well.
Yeah,
I think we already had discussed that we were gonna have another meeting just for the area rate. Did we not say that? I thought? A separate conversation.
you're,
I don't know what form that's gonna take, whether it's another meeting or whether we're gonna give staff direction at a regular meeting or whatever, but sometime during the year, we gotta figure that out. What do we do about this right now? With, so Tammy's suggesting that Either we could take the 55, we could lower the special area rate right now, or we could use that to offset our water deficit like we did with this past year.
I think we better hold on to it because we're going to.
So you're saying keep that as a reserve, the 55,000,
I would say so.
so that next year, if we overrun our expenses on our water and wastewater, that
We have
comes
something.
into play.
We got something to fall back on at least.
Like, who knows if it shows 86,000 was overrun this year, who knows what it'll be next year?
$86 is the amount for this year that
Yeah.
we're currently in, that we're anticipating. If we have this extra 55 at the end of the year,
Bang.
that's gonna get rid of the 86, or lower the 86.
That's one option. The other option was to put it in reserve for next year. There was two options on the floor.
Okay. I thought the two options are on the floor were lower the special area rate so that we don't collect that extra money, or collect that extra money and use it to cover off our deficit and
Yeah.
our over expenditures.
Okay, so the water and wastewater, Tammy has suggested the two amounts, the 45 and the 40,
Yeah.
to balance this year. Carl's suggestion is keep the 55 on the special area rate until next year and see where it falls. Keep that as a reserve. Is that what you said, Carl? I don't want to put words in your mouth, but
I think I'm confused on this.
I
So,
don't believe that's accurate. So, like, we're gonna hit the end of the year with, we're gonna be $86,000 in the hole in water and wastewater. And will either, if he hasn't run screening away from us by that time, will either, do what he's done in the past, like we cash flow that during the year.
the actual part.
Okay. Forget it. I take that back.
I misunderstood. If we take it out of the area rate and Otter River Power, is that going to cover the 86,250?
Right. Tammy suggested the two numbers.
We not already agreed to do that? Yes, so we're talking about
Yeah.
stuff.
No, I just wanted.
He's backtracking. So those two numbers,
That's,
that's,
keep saying that.
that's zeroed out now.
Oh, we're not.
Well, not anymore, not with this.
Well, there we go.
So
We
the
decided that last meeting though, so let's move on.
The 55 now. So the question is, do you want to reserve it?
I'm still confused.
On the very last page.
I know 55, right? 55, 111.
Right.
So this is a surplus that will go into an account or somewhere for next year. And we could use it next
Yeah,
year
okay.
to offset our water and sewage.
Right.
Yeah, I think it's important to remember that the special area rate also had not been raised for like a number of years. So if you think about like, you know, the
17% last year.
I know, but if we look back, there were many years where it was like a zero, so, you know, you can lower it a bit, but eventually it's gonna catch up with us again. So maybe now we can like keep it at this for a long time, because we do have these additional expenses in this town.
Can I ask a question about area rate while we're on it?
Yep.
Okay, I paid 17% higher on my area rate. So if we come back with a 3, does my area rate drop down to 3%?
No, you're going to be, well, if we decide to raise it 3%, your area rate's going to be raised 3%.
Above the 17 from last year.
17 was last year, yeah.
I
We
just
haven't
thought,
suggested raising the area.
No.
No,
but I'm just,
We haven't-
I just want to get that.
and now we won't, yeah.
We're not suggesting raising the area right now. We're collecting it on money, and there's
But if the area rate drops from 17 to 3, shouldn't my area rate drop to 3%?
No, the
Can't get
17.
that in my head.
17 is, yeah, that's a different,
Area rate's
17%
on
is,
top.
Okay,
The area rate will stay the same percentage as it was on last year's budget.
and then plus if we go 10 or 12 or whatever, okay, fine. I just, $1,000 is $1,000.
I suggest we leave it the way it is, put that money in reserve, and during the next 6 months, that we take a really close look at this to make sure that we're not paying, that we're paying for all the things that we should.
Okay, great, thank you.
So that's a motion on the floor, Bill?
To follow Danny's recommendation.
But, okay. But it's your motion. Is there a seconder to Bill's motion? Ted's? All in favor? Okay. So the 55 is going reserve.
Okay, and then I just provided just a brief description of the amendments that were made. And again, the building repairs and maintenance was increased by $3,000 for the side entrance to the basement. The medical center legal fees were reduced to $1,000. The Killeen Pathways Park, 1,471,1297 was increased by $2,500 for barn repairs. It was accidentally omitted. Sheriff Boyle Park was increased by $500 for septic pumping, as it was actually accidentally omitted as well. The Visitor Information Center repairs and maintenance was increased by $800 for general maintenance. And the park's capital expenditure was increased to $20,000 for the Round Lake boat launch repairs.
Any questions of Tammy?
How do you keep it elsewhere?
Who's going to lead the review? Want me to lead the review? Do you want to do the review, or?
Just with everything that was done from the May 5th meeting, the decisions of council and the amendments that were made, if you want to look at the bottom line, I don't believe you have to go through it line by line. I've noted what the changes were. The bottom line, the deficit is $334,791. And that will be offset by reserves if council so wishes to be done so.
So if we leave it the way it is, there's no additions or subtractions, we would be, the 3% tax would be $103,369, less the 334, it leaves you two.
The tax is already, everyone's in here.
Oh, the 3% is in there too?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay. Good thing I used pencil.
Take 334 out of reserves last time, I think we were talking about 300.
Okay, now, so, Cole, is there anything else on your list? Let's start with you first. Did we miss anything from you? Do you want to add anything? Or you're okay with your budget the way it is?
I'm fine with my budget. The only piece that I think needs discussion is the Chatsville workshop. And if you look here, I got professional, I guess, official quote from Summers on what the cost would be to safety. I'll allow council to review that.
So I think basically we have a decision to make whether to do as far as a new truck. Do we lease one? Do we buy a used one, or search out a used one, or
If I may, there's I've discussed an option with Tyler and Dean about for this year, you know, it not being truly in the budget and maybe being more affordable for this year. The three of us could set up a schedule for using trucks on each end. So when Tyler's not using his car and I don't need a box, I can use his car to communicate or commute. And then for Dean's trucks, especially in the summer, they only work 4 days a week. So I'd have a truck, we'll say once a day. And then for days, you know, during the week that I know I need a truck, I could put in the schedule, and if Dean's not using his or there's a truck available, then I can take that. There will be conflicting days, but I'm confident that for this year, I think we can work around it, and next year we can put a full amount in the budget to move forward.
And what would we do with the old truck?
That are dumped.
Well, so we have to put 10,500 into it just to put it on the road. So.
Sell it for scrap.
Yeah, so Tom Summers says until there's work done on that truck that I can't drive it.
Wow.
The box isn't even attached to the cab.
No loss, Maureen.
No, Maureen had a boss.
Oh.
You wrecked the truck.
Last year.
Well, maybe I did get the flowers last year.
Can you three guys get along?
That's what I was gonna ask.
Very nice in the second.
I have a draft schedule made that I will present to my two other workmates.
It's erasable, right?
Pencil.
If you
So-
guys can make that work, that's
I think
great.
it's a fantastic idea, for sure.
We can look at it more seriously.
Like exactly the day on the weekend, we work 4 days a week, Monday to Thursday.
Yeah.
So there'll be three trucks or whatever that's available, right?
A lot of the time, Friday, Saturday is like for the events, when you
Yeah.
need a truck, right?
Yeah, and the only time I would assume that there might be not trouble, but just be like the time I need is whenever I have my staff at Bonnechere Park, but I don't need a truck for that. So as long as Tyler doesn't have inspections, there'd be no problem in taking that out. So
And if you're really with that vehicle, then you can use your own.
and then just mileage, yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so truck is settled.
Thank
Okay,
you, sir.
next question that I have, right, did we include, or did council make a decision as far as that sign on coming into town on Mill Street? You know, the one that's really frayed and, remember we talked about that? What did we say about
I'm
that?
just laughing because my daughter came home last weekend and that's the first thing she told me when she got home at 11 o'clock at night is that sign is horrible.
And I noticed the other day, I don't usually come in this way, but tonight I did, and this one coming in on Queen Street, that's sort of starting to fray too. Should we put that in his budget for those two signs?
I can give a rough number that I've kind of accumulated, and each sign would probably be about $4,000 to get it up to code correctly. Well, because all the wood would be rotting out of it, so there'd have to be new wood, new sign, new everything.
It might be a good thing to investigate. I know they're in bad shape. It might be a good thing to investigate because there would definitely be grants to apply for signage. You know, maybe even an opportunity to rebrand a little bit.
Well, if not, I'm not saying both, but for sure, I think we absolutely need to do that one coming down Mill Street.
Well, what I could do is if you give me time till our next meeting, I could look for upcoming grants, and then I can bring that to council, and then if there's an opportunity to get it, then we can discuss it then, but it's council's decision. I do know that I mean, I've been here, not even a year, but last summer there was a few grants that were in that kind of tourism sector. And I feel like those signs, especially for an economic development tourism standpoint, would fit into that category.
Yeah, because it would be nice to have one up for the summer. Because it's getting worse, like your daughter said, it's getting worse and worse. So,
I don't even notice it.
Dean?
Is there any way Cole could maybe look into the avenue of leaving that sign in there and maybe just like getting somebody to scrape it off and then rebrand it and leaving the sign until you guys look and see if there's any more money on the budget? Because like they wrap trucks and stuff like that. Is there any way they could wrap the sign for this year?
I think the
Same
only,
cost. Until you look at a different solution for next budget maybe. That's just a thought. I just thought it's
Yeah, because that one is like really the worst. Yeah.
yeah, like And a lot of people, they don't wait until they come to the second exit and take the first exit. So,
That's a good idea.
I did go check out that Mill Street sign, and it is like I will say that like I really like went in and looked at it. The wood is rotting on it for sure.
If you hit that corner as fast as I do, there's no chance of getting
There's a better chance the cops see me from the shop.
So that's where we put the speed sign.
Yeah. Yeah.
actually, that's gonna be where the speed radar is gonna be. Just for you. So can we give Colton direction as far as checking out the details of it and
Which is
come back to us?
look for grants.
Well, and get a cost.
Okay. So the sign very similar to that. Very
Ident-
very similar.
Like identical?
Very similar would be $4,000.
Look into Dean's option of wrapping though, that's good.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
you just
you
said
go
that the woods
Yeah,
are.
but if it only has to get us through like a year before we can like apply
Yeah,
next year,
yeah.
we can apply next year, there's all kinds of things that fit. Like the grant we got for our
Right.
website would be the perfect grant.
The red grant.
Yeah, and maybe we can even like zhuzh them up, you know, like have community, like bring the community in, like do something different on both ends. Like there's money out there for
Okay.
stuff like that.
So I will remind council that any of those decisions that are being made now, that bottom line of 334,791 is going to increase, and right now council is given direction to take that out of reserves, because that is not in the budget. And if council wishes to pass the budget on Tuesday, it is now Thursday, we need to figure that out, if you're putting it in the budget, or what's gonna happen with that.
Like honestly, you're going and asking everybody if there's something more they want. They've already presented 2 or 3 times to us.
Mhm.
I thought this was just to agree that we're good and we're going to pass it.
They may have come up with, we haven't heard from Dean yet as far as his roads.
I wasn't aware I had to bring it in here.
Oh, you're not?
Well, he's presented 2 or 3 times to us
No,
already.
His opening of the,
That has to be done
That's
at
it.
at a council meeting?
Oh, good, sorry.
The opening of the tenders.
Oh, that won't be done until Tuesday.
Okay.
And they're not closing till Tuesday, so.
Yeah.
Same with the.
So I don't know if we can we even announce the budget without knowing the tenders and all that?
Well, yes, because
Yeah.
we have a certain amount set aside.
We've set aside.
For that, and if it goes over, we either
Take-
find the money or we.
Take it out of reserves. Take it out of reserves.
So we're too much, we just say no, so.
In regards to the signs, now Tammy, correct me if I'm wrong, but like we could do very similar to what we're doing at Round Lake is, if we get the grant, then go ahead with it, and then if not, then we don't.
That's good.
Also, you've got to remember, there's more than just 3 signs. If you want to rebrand them, right, there's
Yeah.
seven signs coming into the municipality.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
So you've got to look at that as well.
Well, that's the whole package, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay. Is there anything else? Okay, so, just a show of hands, everyone's okay with this document of 334,791. Anybody squeamish? No.
Inch pennies, saving.
Okay, all those in favor? Carried. Done. Dean and Dale, we just purchased 2 trucks at the county, and each truck ended up being $478,000. I guess the tariffs are really starting to hit now, so whenever you're doing your asset management plan, keep that in mind. I want to share that with you because it just happened this week. So
But they also had like different spreader units on it. They also
yeah, it was the deluxe type
had
thing,
more
but
equipment
yeah.
on it. They had like the liquid salt and stuff like
but
that.
just be careful when you're doing your asset plan because things are starting to really go up. Like
I know.
so. Okay. Anybody have anything else? Any new business? No next meeting. motion for adjournment.
Committee of the whole.
We have committee of the whole.
Okay.
Committee of the whole.
We have committee of the whole, and we're gonna have to ask all staff to leave, including Charlene. But then Charlene will come back to finish the meeting.
Okay.
Moved by Ted,
Sorry, Pat, I should say.
moved by Ted Brown, second by Brian Duffy. Be it resolved that the committee move into closed meeting pursuant to section 239 of the Municipal Act 2001 as noted for the following reasons. Personal matters about an identifiable individual, including municipal or local board employees, labor relations, or employee negotiations.
All those in